Welcome to Reading Network Anatomy. The network editor is where we spend the majority of our time when working in TouchDesigner, and there's a lot we can learn about a project just by looking at a network. To see what that means, let's start by adding some operators to our network. I'm going to begin by using the Tab key to open up the OpCreate dialog and type in MOV to search for Movie File In. Next, I'm going to left-click on Movie File In and left-click again to add it to my network. Let's add another operator to our network. This time I'm going to double-click on the network editor, search for a level top, left-click on level, and left-click again to add it to my network. We can connect operators of the same family together by using wires. We do that by using the output and input connectors of our operators. I'm going to click on the output connector of the movie file in top and drag that over to the input connector of my level top. Let's use the P key to bring up our parameters window to make sure that we can see the parameters for our level top. Here we can see the parameters that are associated with our level top, where we can make changes that are going to affect what happens inside of that operator. Let's take a look at a few other examples. Here we can see that wires always connect operators of the same family together. Wires are also the same color as the operator family that they represent. One way that we can quickly visually debug what's happening inside of a network is to look for wires that are animated. An animated wire will represent a connection that data is flowing through. This often tells us that the operators it's connected to are cooking, or there's data that's processing in one of those operators. This can be extremely useful for debugging or finding areas inside of your network that are cooking. There's another type of connection that we also can see here between operators, and that's called links or references. Links are represented by dotted lines that move between operators, and these let us build connections between operators of different families, and sometimes between operators of the same family. Components have a different type of connection that we can use for them. Components have top and bottom connectors, which are useful for understanding hierarchy. In UI components, hierarchy is used for helping build relationships between different user interface elements. This is extremely useful when we're thinking about how we group together different elements inside of an interface. For our 3D components, hierarchy is used for building complex 3D relationships. And this is often useful when we think about how we build together different connections between operators that need to have, say, a spatial relationship to one another. Components also have another type of superpower. Because components can hold other networks, we can also build in and out connections with our operator families. Here we can see that we have a movie file in top that flows through our base operator out to an operator on the other side. If we zoom into our base operator, we can see here that we have an in top connected to an out top, an in chop connected to an out chop, and so on. This lets us build connections that allows data to flow through operators through the other side. This is also a way that we can build components that are reusable and a way for us to keep our networks tidy and organized. Here we can take a look at one of the examples from the palette. This is a feedback edge component from the palette, and we can see that this purple indicator on our component is an indicator that we can connect a top to it, and we can get information out of it. If we zoom inside of this network, we can see that we have a whole set of elements that are here inside of it. And if we take a look over here on the right, we can see there is in fact another component that has another set of in and outs. And we can zoom in again to see another network hidden inside here. We can quickly move back out of our network here by using the pane bar to quickly jump up a network layer or up another network layer again. Zooming out, we can see that we're here at the top level of our network. The pane bar is a quick way for us to see the address or the network location that we're inside of, and that can be extremely useful for understanding where we are at any given moment.